Hey, good morning. I have never done this before and I'm way self conscious and I really don't care. I've been inspired by some incredible women in my life, Millie and Janelle, and they've just put things out there on live. And I've been so blessed and encouraged by them. And I just felt like I was supposed to put something out on social media today. There is a lot of negativity. There's a lot of tension, there's a lot of stress. And so this morning, as I'm sitting out in my backyard trying to process life on this Monday morning, and my allergies are going crazy, and quite frankly, life just seems overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed by life at times, not all the time. I'm functioning, but I read something out of 1 Peter 4:12 through 19, and I just feel like it's not just for me. So if you are not a believer in God, I think this will encourage you. And so when I say I'm a believer in God, it means that I believe that truth is in a person, that God gave his son Jesus to demonstrate, to bring unity, to justify all the wrong in the world called sin through Jesus. And I've been in a relationship with this Jesus since I was 19 years old, and I'm almost 52. And one thing that I've learned, it's not about rules, it's not about a harsh judge, it's about the sweetest, most intimate relationship, second to none. I love my husband, I love my family, I adore my girls, but this relationship I have with God through Jesus and the way the Holy Spirit speaks to me, I wouldn't trade it for anything. And so this morning I just want to share some truth that brought so much joy to my heart. It's in 1 Peter 4:12 through 19. If you have a Bible or you can look it up on your phone, it's amazing. But I've been hearing lots of stories from people who are in hard places, right? It doesn't take you long to look around, and it starts with us to find people who are right in the middle of hard, right? And the first thing these section of verses says, "Dear friends, don't be surprised when the fiery ordeal comes along to test you, as if something unusual were happening to you." And he goes on to basically say in 1 Peter here, stuff is going to happen. We live in this world that is broken, right? God didn't make it broken. We made it broken. And yet in his goodness, he tells us how to operate in this broken world, right? My logic doesn't make sense, but his always does. He gives some commands in here that is, I love these commands. He says, don't be surprised. I think half of the battle when I'm in the middle of hard is I'm shocked and I'm surprised and I think, how could that person do that? He says, don't be surprised. You live in broken. And in broken's going to happen, right? But then he says instead, rejoice. It doesn't make sense, but there's something that chemically happens in our brain when we are in the middle of hard, when we're truly suffering, when we make a conscious decision in our brain. There's chemistry that happens that changes our outlook, that changes our focus, that changes us. And God knows that because he made our brain. And so he says, rejoice. So rejoice doesn't have to mean like this hyper emotionalism. The rejoice can be through tears. God, this hurts so much, but I'm going to rejoice because you love me and you're going to work this out. And then he says, why to rejoice? He says, because the Spirit of glory rests on you. I love words. I'm a word nerd. Definition of rest. The best definition I found, it says to alight on or to be steadily directed on. I love that. That God's Spirit and the Spirit of glory rests on, is steadily directed on us when we're in those hard places. And then he says at the end there in verse 19, entrust yourself to a faithful creator. I told you that I've been walking with Jesus for almost 52. Well, I'm 52, started when I was 19, so do the math. I've never ever seen God be unfaithful? Has he done things that left me scratching my head? Absolutely. Has he done things that were way better than I could have thought or imagined? You bet. But when we're in the middle of hard, and there's a lot of hard going on with COVID, with politics, with schooling, with what's going to happen in the fall, with it just seems like things are unraveling. And yet God says, I've got a really great plan. I've got a plan to prosper you, not to harm you, a plan for your future, to give you a hope. Those are the things that I can rejoice in the middle of hard, right? And yeah, so that's it. I hope this brought you joy. Again, this is not my cup of tea. I love to talk over coffee, but to put something out there like this on social media. But I don't think this is a time for people who know truth to be quiet. And again, I believe truth is a person. And so I'm going to be doing this more often. I would encourage you to, if you are a believer in God, if you believe that truth is in a person, share truth, share love, rejoice in the middle of your hard, because we're in a broken world who needs to know there's hope. And they need to know above all that there's a God, a multicultural God, who made every single person in his image. And he knew that life on this planet would be hard. And yet he always made a way for us to find him in the middle of it, and not just survive, but to thrive. So that's my musings on this Monday. Be so blessed.